Did you have a bodyguard?
I did.
Would that give you some comfort?
He wasn't around very much. I can't really get into this too much. I'm going to tell you off camera and off the record.
Don't tell me anything
Okay.
off the record. If you're telling me, I want to be able to use anything I can to help you, so I want everything on the record. Here's what, let me ask
He
you what I
was only
know.
around every now and then because I couldn't afford to pay.
Okay.
So he did it because he loved and cared for me.
Right.
And he also did it, I'm pretty almost 100% sure that he's undercover. He was some form of police enforcement. I mean, he swept my room for bugs and all kinds of stuff. And he knew everything that I was telling him, and he came in and was telling me that he had personality profiled, you know, us and
Us.
Kris and I. And he told me things about Kris that made me shiver because I couldn't believe what he knew from personality profile.
When you had this bodyguard, was he like a big, powerful guy?
No, you don't have to be big and powerful if you have skills.
What name did he use with you?
I don't want to blow his cover. I don't want to I don't know what his, I call him Yoda.
Did you like him?
I fell in love with him.
You did?
But, you know, I'm still a married woman. I haven't been on a date. I haven't been with a man. I haven't hugged a man or like been touched by a man in like almost 2 years. And so, I mean, I'm really lonely, that's for sure, but I was just on my own. Like, I just kind of felt like, where's all these men? Like, where's my dad? You know, and like, where are the men, like, to protect me and stuff? And I couldn't get any of them to do anything, so I did it my damn self. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of every single thing that I did because my intentions were true and they were pure. And I really feel amazed at how I did handle myself because a lot of women would have either killed themselves or they'd have gone over there and they'd have killed him. And when you're tied up in a prenup like that and you get no alimony, you have a husband that is very powerful and very strong and you're not, and you don't have a support system, this is what happens.
What is it you know that people would want to kill you for?
I just know a lot about a lot of money that went overseas.
We talked to your daughter, Alyssa.
Mm-hmm. The one that stole all of my clothes and purses and personal items from my apartment and then left everything else to get pillaged and plundered by everyone while I was in jail. That daughter.
That's the one?
Yeah, everything that I have is gone.
She says you were diagnosed with bipolar disorder about 11 years ago, and that for years before that, doctors had just told you that you were just suffering from depression.
I was suffering from depression.
But that in fact, you're bipolar and you get real manicky.
I am only manic when I'm extremely acerbated or traumatized. So I'm not bipolar on a regular basis. I'm happy-go-lucky, relaxed. I like to stay at home with my kids and cook.
She said you wouldn't take your meds because they'd make you feel like yourself.
They made me slow, sluggish, dumb, and I caught on to the fact that not only was I not myself, but that any time and every time that someone doesn't get what they want from me, like my mother or my daughter or Kris, I'm either bipolar or I'm not taking my meds, when in fact, you know, you are using me and abusing me, and you're using that against me when I have not been diagnosed by any psychiatrist whatsoever with having bipolar.
Listen, and I'm not assigning a diagnosis to you at all or saying
Right.
that these are right or wrong, but you understand, if you were bipolar, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's just
I'm not ashamed of it, but
that's just
it's not the
something to
truth.
deal with. Well,
It's
I'm not saying
the
it
truth.
is. Your daughter said, and this is a quote from her, I was reading about schizophrenia, and everything I read was like, quote, that's my mom. It's
Well, I was
weird.
reading about borderline personality disorder, and everything I read about that makes me think about her.
She said when she was still quite young that you were into the rave scene doing acid.
Yeah,
Is it true?
it was a lot of fun.
I mean,
I'm not
did you
gonna
do
lie.
that?
Yes,
Do you think that might have
not at all.
fried your brain at all?
No, I mean, you grew up in the 60s, and I'm not saying whether you tried a drug or didn't try a drug, but I'm sure you have many friends and colleagues left that did plenty of acid that their brains aren't fried.
Well, I have some that did that are, though, too.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.